guys, so it's Wednesday. We are about to start like almost a 2-week journey into multiplicative comparisons. And I know that kind of sounds crazy. We'll get into it in just a second, but when you think about you're only in school 4 days a week now in person with your virtual day, and then some of you are at home for a week and then you come back, these videos are going to be so important. So I'm just letting you know from the very beginning, you have got to watch these videos from start to finish. And when you do your assignments that go along with the videos, if you have questions, don't submit the work yet. Just wait, email me. Let's see if we can Zoom to get it figured out. But you have got to watch these videos. And I promise you, the strategies that I'm going to show you are going to help. So when we are talking about multiplicative comparisons, really it's exactly what it sounds like. You're going to be reading word problems where you're going to be using multiplication to compare certain things. So the good thing is you've seen this in Fantastic Five already. So you should know exactly what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to actually show you 5 or 6 of these examples, and then I'm going to give you a chance to pause, go in, try to do it yourself, then come back and press play, watch me solve it, and then see if you got the answer correct. I hate that you guys have to do it. You have to start with this virtually. I think it puts you at such a disadvantage because it's so much easier to see me in person. So I'm going to try to make this as detailed as I possibly can. So we'll go ahead and get right into this first question. It says a blue scarf costs $7. A red hat costs 5 times as much as the blue hat. How much does the red hat cost? So look, if you have been watching my Fantastic Five videos, which hopefully you have, you already know when I see times as many or times as much, I'm instantly thinking of the box method. I'm going to use that picture every single time. And guys, I'm fully aware that there are different ways to do this question, and maybe even easier and faster ways to do this question. But I use this example in class today. If you were a basketball player and you had 2 ways that you could shoot the ball, one way works, one way would go in most of the time, and one way would go in all the time. You would probably do the one that goes in all the time. Guys, the box method will work every single time. Obviously, you got to do some math, right? But if you set it up correctly, it's going to give you the answer. So I want us to start getting into the habit of using it, because maybe you don't need it on these questions, but down the road, you're going to say, box method might help me on this one. All right, so I see times as much, I think box method, and I know I'm comparing something here. I'm comparing the cost of a blue scarf and a red scarf. So I'm going to start by pulling those 2 things out, and I'll do B for blue scarf, R for red hat. Sorry, it's not a hat and a scarf, or it's not a scarf and a scarf. So now I got to draw my boxes. And when I see 5 times as much, that means something is going to get 5 boxes. In this case, if it says a red hat, it costs 5 times as much, the red hat's going to get 5 boxes. And then the blue hat automatically gets 1. So now, once you've got your picture, it all just comes down to using the information that the question gives you. The only other piece of information or number that it gives us is that a blue scarf costs $7. That 7 has nothing to do with the red hat. I just know that this picture right here is equal to $7. Well, guys, if you only have 1 box, that means that that box is worth 7. And if that box is worth 7, every box is worth 7. The question is asking, how much does the red hat cost? All I got to do is look at my picture. I can go 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7, or I can go 7 times 5, and that would give me the answer of 35. So I know what most of you are probably thinking, Mr. Huber, I could have read that question, done 7 times 5, got 35, and been done. For this type of question, that would work every single time, because multiplicative comparison problems do not always work like that. That's why I want us to get into the habit of doing this box method. You've seen it in Fan 5. If you're just multiplying the 2 numbers that you see, you would miss both questions on Fantastic Five, but not with the box method, right? All right, so let me clear that out. Let's look at another question. Move this. All right, so it says there are 4 plums in one bag. The number of apples is 3 times as many as the number of plums in the other bag. It's interesting wording. Again, times as many, box method. It says how many apples are in the other bag? Where's my arrow? Found it. All right, so again, multiplicative comparisons. I'm comparing 2 things. Times as many means box method. I'm comparing plums to apples. I've pulled those 2 things out, plums, apples. Now I've got to draw my picture. Remember, you get the number of boxes from times as many. So if I'm looking at the question, it says the number of apples is 3 times as many, meaning apples is going to get 3, hold it together, Mr. Huber, 3 boxes, which means plums automatically gets 1. All right, so again, I just got to pull out the information it gives me. It says there's 4 plums in one bag. Well, if plums only has 1 box, that box is going to be worth 4. And if that box is worth 4, the rest of them are worth 4. If I read the question, it says how many apples are in the other bag? 4 plus 4 plus 4, or 4 times 3. That would give me 12. All right. So what I'd like to do is, I think I've got 10 questions. What I want to do is, I want to very quickly run through 5. And then I'm going to do 5 more, but the last 5 are the ones I want you to pause, watch, pause, watch. All right, so Anna picked 6 apples. Sabrina picked 7 times as many apples. How many apples did Sabrina pick? Again, times as many. Box method. I'm comparing 2 things. I'm comparing Anna's apples to Sabrina's. So I'm going to pull those 2 people out. And if it says 7 times as many, somebody's getting 7 boxes. And in this case, since Sabrina picked 7 times as many, she's getting 7. And Anna automatically gets 1. So again, take the information that it gives us. It says Anna picked 6 apples. If Anna only has 1 box, that box has 6, which means all the boxes have 6. And if we wanted to figure out how many apples did Sabrina pick, you could add all those together. You can go 6 times 7. Either way you did it, you would get 42. I'm actually only going to do 2 more before I start pausing and letting you try some, because I don't want to get too repetitive, because I think once you see enough of them, you're going to kind of get it. Number 2 says, Jake's grandmother lives 8 miles away from him. His aunt lives 6 times as far away from him as his grandmother. How far away does his aunt live? So again, times as many, box method. We're comparing the distance his grandma lives and the distance that his aunt lives away from him, and we're talking about Jake. So the 2 things being compared, we're going to pull those out. We got grandma, we got aunt. Now we see 6 times as many, or 6 times as far, which means somebody's going to get 6 boxes. If it says his aunt lives 6 times as far, aunt's getting 6 boxes. And automatically grandma gets 1. So I'm going to kind of do this one a little bit more similar to how I started and how you've seen it in Fan 5. When I pull the information out, when it says grandma lives 8 miles away, that 8 has nothing to do with his aunt. That 8 only has to do with grandma. So I know that grandma's box, that picture, is equal to 8. And what we've been doing in Fan 5 is saying, I've got to take those miles and I've got to split them between grandma's box, or boxes. In this case, I'm just doing 8 divided by 1 because she's only got 1 box, which is why that 8 automatically just goes into the 1 box. And if grandma has 8 miles, the rest of the boxes have 8 miles. And to figure out how many miles his aunt lived away, I could add those up, or I could do 8 times 6. And again, I would get 48. So I completely understand. You can look at that, you can multiply, you can get your answer. I'm telling you, you're going to want to get into the habit of practicing this box method. So I'm going to have you do 3 right now. Watch, pause, watch. And I want you to do it with the box method. Don't just get an answer. Honestly, you guys are so good at multiplication, you could do this type of problem in your head. I don't want you to. So practice out your box model or your box method. And if you show me a picture of your work for these next 3 questions and send me a picture of it, I'll give you 50 tickets. So I'll need to see the box method for the next 3 questions. If you send me a picture, 50 tickets, easy as that. All right, so the first one, I'll read it for you, and then I'm going to have you pause it, come back once you've solved it. All right, it says, Marisol has 12 stamps in her stamp collection. Cheyenne has 3 times as many stamps. How many stamps does Cheyenne have? So again, pause it, come back once you solved. We see times as many. We know we've got the box method. We know we're comparing Marisol to Cheyenne's stamps. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them out of the question. M and C. And then I'm going to do my boxes. In this case, I'm going to do 3 boxes because it says 3 times as many. And those 3 boxes are going to Cheyenne because she has 3 times as many stamps. And if Cheyenne gets 3, Marisol automatically gets 1. And now I got to take the information that it gives me. It says Marisol has 12 stamps. So I've got to split those 12 stamps between her boxes, but she's only got 1, which meaning that box has 12, and so do the rest of all the other boxes. If I want to know how many stamps Cheyenne has, I can do 12 plus 12 plus 12. 12 times 3, I would get 36. All right. Hopefully we're doing pretty good on that one. All right, we're going to have you do a couple more. So I'll read this to you, then pause it, solve it, come back. Tonya's farm is 9 acres. Ernie's farm has 4 times as many acres. How many acres is Ernie's farm? Ooh, excuse me. All right. So again, 4 times as many. I'm comparing Tonya's farm to Ernie's farm. I'm pulling both of those folks out. And then I got to draw some boxes. In this case, I'm going to draw 4 boxes for Ernie because he has 4 times as many acres. And Tonya automatically gets 1. Once I've got the picture drawn, use the information it gives me. It tells me Tonya's farm is 9 acres. Got to split those 9 acres between her boxes, but she only has 1, which means I put 9 in that box and 9 in the rest of the boxes. If I want to know how many acres Ernie's farm had, 9 plus 9 plus 9, a little bit easier to do 9 times 4, and you would get 36. I think that was just our last answer as well. So you still do have to know your multiplication facts on these, but if you know them, this cruises by a little bit quicker. All right, last one I'm going to have you try before you knock out those questions on your own. Clear? It says, over the summer, Caitlin read 9 books. My Quan read 4 times as many books. I'm changing these numbers. Caitlin read 11 books. My Quan read 4 times as many books. How many books did my Quan read? So again, pause this, come back when you got it. We see times as many. We know we're comparing Caitlin's books to my Quan's books. We're going to pull them out of the question. And somebody's going to get some boxes. In this case, 4 times as many means 4 boxes. And my Quan read 4 times as many. So he's got the 4 boxes. Caitlin automatically gets 1. And if it says Caitlin read 11 books, I got to take those 11, split them between her boxes, but she only has 1. So there's 11 here. And then we've got 11 in the rest of the boxes. If I want to know my Quan's total, I could go 11 plus 11 plus 11 plus 11, or 11 times 4, and that would give me 44. So look, I personally think you're probably feeling pretty good about these questions. Day 1 of multiplicative comparisons, though, is a little bit deceiving because these questions get way more complicated and a little bit more difficult. And just because they're complicated doesn't make them that much harder if you're using the box method. you've already seen two different kinds in Fantastic Five. So again, you have an advantage. You've already had a little preview of multiplicative comparisons. As long as you're using that box method, I promise you, you're going to get this a little bit quicker. So once you finish this, you should be going to knock out your assignment. It's 10 questions. I would love for you to do the box method. If you have questions, again, you don't have to submit it right away. Stop, shoot me an email. We can set up a Zoom. That way you can make sure you're good. So I'm just warning you, they are going to get a little bit more challenging tomorrow, but you're going to have seen it before thanks to Fan 5. So I look forward to doing that tomorrow. Hopefully you watch start to finish, and we'll be back on, what's today? We'll be back on Thursday. Stop.